Good morning, friends, and my dear children. Once again, welcome back to our channel, Perry's Study and Motivation. Okay, I hope all children of class 10 are watching my videos and making use of the concepts which I teach. Okay, and hopefully some children are keeping messages for me to start for 9th classes also. I am very happy to share that with all of you, and most of the parents are also giving good responses to me, right? I am very much thankful to all of you, okay? And please encourage me like this and take advantage of the topics, okay? Make use of the topics which I am dealing with, and please give your suggestions and comments in comment section, okay? And those who are watching this video for the first time, or those who are visiting my channel for the first time, it's a kind request to go through the videos which I have uploaded previously, and if you like it, please subscribe to my channel, okay? So this is my personal request to all of you, right? Now, moving on to the topic, right? Previous video I have discussed about Tauberner's triads and Newland's law of octaves. Okay, so in this video I am going to tell you about Mendeleev's periodic table. Okay, so the series of periodic classification of elements for class 10. Okay, it has been started. Those who have not watched the video, request all of you to please watch the previous videos also, so that in continuation with that you can have concepts in this video also, right? Playlists are ready for the metallurgy, principles of metallurgy topic. Playlists are already ready. So those who haven't watched the videos, request all of you to kindly watch the videos. Please give a like, a comment, a suggestion, and if possible, please share the videos and give information to all of your friends and family members, and request all of you to kindly subscribe to my channel. Okay, this is Lalita Perry, okay, a science teacher. Basically I teach chemistry, right? Once again, good morning to all of you, right? Today's topic is Mendeleev's periodic table. Okay, so Mendeleev's periodic table. So Dmitry Ivanovich Mendeleev, the great scientist who has given a very big contribution for the classification of elements in 18th century. Okay, he came up with his ideas in 1869 and he designed a tabular form, okay, with certain horizontal rows and vertical columns. He arranged the available elements whichever are available at the time. He arranged them in the form of periods and groups, okay, in the form of a table, like with the horizontal rows and vertical columns. Okay, he arranged all the elements. Only 63 elements were available at the time when Mendeleev started to classify the elements. Only 63 elements were available. Okay, so those 63 elements, whatever the elements which are to be discovered, everything he gave a clarity. Okay, so about his periodic table we are going to discuss for today, right? So Mendeleev, okay, a Russian scientist, okay, gave a much contribution for classification of elements. Okay, so his classification is mainly based on his periodic law. Okay, what is his periodic law? Mendeleev's periodic law. What does this law states? His classification is mainly based on atomic masses of elements. Okay, so the physical and chemical properties of elements. The physical and chemical properties. the physical and chemical properties of elements are the periodic functions. The physical and chemical properties of elements are the periodic functions of their atomic masses. Periodic functions of their atomic masses. This is called as Mendeleev's periodic law. Atomic masses. Okay, so his classification is mainly based on atomic mass of elements. Okay, so that is what you call it as Mendeleev's periodic law. Very important for 2 marks question. Terminology is very much important. Please remember, all of you, every time I say, please concentrate on best terminology for definitions especially. Okay, so this is the statement for Mendeleev's periodic law. His classification is mainly based on what? Atomic mass of elements. Okay, so in what way he has classified the elements? What are the salient features of his classification? And what are the drawbacks of his classification? Everything we are going to learn in this video, right? So here mainly he focused on the reactivity of elements. Okay, he classified the elements in the form of 7 horizontal rows which are called as periods and 8 vertical columns which are called as groups. Okay, 7 horizontal rows. His periodic table consists of what? 7 horizontal rows are there which are called as periods and 8 vertical columns are there which are called as groups. So in what way he categorized the elements in groups and periods? Okay, so his classification is mainly based on atomic masses, which I already told you, and he also observed the reactivity of the available elements with oxygen. What type of oxides are being formed with the available elements? Okay, with the available elements whichever are available at that time, he observed the nature of oxides, not only atomic masses, based on, this is very important point, based on the nature of oxides, based on the nature of oxides, okay, which are formed by the elements. Okay, based on the nature of oxides, okay, he classified the elements. Okay, now based on the nature of the oxides which are formed, he classified the elements. Okay, so in what way he classified the elements? So let us learn about the nature of oxides first. Okay, so nature of oxides. So if you consider an element to be R, R is one element. I am not speaking about the symbol R. R is so and so element. Okay, element is considered as R. Okay, R is one element. I am not speaking about ruthenium, rhodium, nothing like that. Some element R. Okay, it is reacting with oxygen. Okay, oxides, how they are formed? Oxides are formed with the reaction with oxygen, isn't it or not? So R, when reacts with oxygen, okay, depending on the nature of that element R, some of the oxides are observed to be of the form R2O. Okay, R2O type. Some of the oxides are observed to be of what type? R2O type. And some of the oxides are observed to be of RO type. I'll tell you examples, then you will understand it better. Okay, some are forming oxides of type R2O, some are forming oxides of type RO, and some are forming oxides of type RO2. Okay, and some are forming oxides of type R2O3. Okay, and some are forming oxides of type R2O5. Okay, and some are forming oxides of type RO4 also. Okay, like that, one type of element is forming oxide in one way. I mean to say with one type of formula. Of course, these formulas and all depends on valencies. Okay, that point also he was telling us in the next, in the next points he is about to tell that. Okay, so he observed the nature of oxides first. Okay, some elements are forming oxides of type what? R2O. Some elements are forming oxides of type RO, and some are forming oxides of type RO2. Some are forming R2O3. Like this, different elements, oxides, if he observe, their formulas and their nature were observed based on the reactivity of the substances. So based on the formation of oxides by different elements, okay, so what all the oxides are forming of type R2O, he classified them as one group. Whichever all the elements are forming oxides of type RO, he categorized them as second group. All the elements which are forming oxides of type RO2 are categorized under one group. Okay, so like that, based on the nature of the oxides, he has done his classification. Okay, so let us learn some examples. Okay, let us learn some examples for this. Okay, so for example, first R2O type let us learn. Okay, some elements are forming oxides of type R2O. Okay, R is some element. So what is that R stands for? Okay, which elements are forming oxides of type R2O? Okay, examples. Examples for elements which forms oxides of type R2O. Okay, which elements are forming oxides of type R2O? Let us see some examples. Suppose hydrogen is there. Hydrogen means in place of R I am taking hydrogen. Okay, in place of R I am taking what? Hydrogen. R is some element. Okay, so hydrogen, H. Hydrogen is forming oxide of type H2O. You all know it is water. Oxide of hydrogen is water, H2O. R2O type. Okay now. Which substances are forming oxides of type R2O? I am just categorizing and giving examples for such category elements. Okay, so H2O. Okay, and suppose if you take lithium. Lithium is forming oxide of type Li2O. Okay, similarly sodium. Sodium, Na, is also forming oxide of type Na2O. Okay, he observed the nature of oxides. Okay, so same like that, potassium. Potassium, K, is forming oxide of type K2O. Okay, copper. You can take the example of copper. Copper is forming oxide of type Cu2O. Okay, copper, right? So like that, even silver is forming oxide of type Ag2O. Gold is also forming oxide of type Au2O. Okay, so like that, what all the elements which are forming oxides of type R2O. Okay, he categorized all these elements in one group. Okay, same like that if you go for the examples of type RO type. Okay, oxides of type RO. Oxides of type RO. If you go for the examples, beryllium, BeO. Okay, beryllium is forming oxide BeO. Same like that, magnesium, MgO. Calcium is forming oxide of type CaO. Okay, strontium is forming oxide of type SrO. Zinc, ZnO. Zinc is forming oxide of type ZnO. Same like that, you can take even the example of The example of mercury. Mercury, Hg, is forming oxide of type HgO. Okay, so like that, there are certain elements forming oxides of type RO. Okay, so he categorized all of those elements under one group. Okay, same like that, RO2 type. Okay, nitrogen dioxide can be formed. Okay, RO2 type. Same like that, R2O3 type, aluminium oxide. Okay, so like that, some elements whichever are available at the time, based on the nature of the oxides, he categorized the elements. Okay, so this is his first classification, first attempt was made like this. Okay, so then comes for the classification. In the classification, I said that all the elements which are categorized in the form of groups and periods. Okay, 7 horizontal rows are there which are called as periods, and 8 vertical columns are there which are called as groups. Okay, so what are the salient features of Mendeleev's periodic table? Okay, salient features of Mendeleev's periodic table. Salient features of Mendeleev's periodic table. What are the salient features? Okay, first thing what he told is classification in terms of groups and periods. Okay, now groups. 8 vertical columns called groups. 8 vertical columns. He categorized the elements into 8 vertical columns called groups. Okay, and periods. 7 horizontal rows. 7 horizontal rows. 7 horizontal rows are called as periods. Okay, and he has done the subgroup classification also. Groups are further divided into subgroups also. Okay, I think you might have copied this. I'll rub the board. Right? Please make a notes. Every time I say, please make a notes. Okay. Okay, please. So here you are going to understand about subgroups also. He made subgroups also. What are subgroups? Groups are further divided into subgroups. Group A and Group B. As just now I told you, hydrogen, lithium, sodium, potassium, rubidium is there. What else? Cesium is there. Okay. Copper. Okay. Copper, gold, silver. All these are forming what? Oxides of type RO. Okay. In this also, hydrogen is of course a gas. Okay. And lithium is a metal, lightest metal. Okay, sodium, potassium, rubidium, cesium, francium. All these were kept under group A, subgroup A. Okay, subgroup A. Suppose this is first group. Okay, in this all these elements were arranged like this. Okay, so after that, what he did is this copper, what we call silver, gold, all these were categorized under group B. Group A, these all comes under group A, subgroup A. Okay, this all comes under subgroup A. This is first group, suppose. First vertical column, first group. Okay, first group again further divided into what? Group A and group B. In group A, he categorized all these elements: hydrogen, lithium, sodium, potassium, rubidium, cesium, francium. And in subgroup B, okay, these elements like copper, silver, gold, okay, all these elements were categorized under same group, first group only, but subgroup B. Why he did like that? All of these are forming oxides of type which type? R2O type. All these are forming oxides of type R2O. Okay, Cu forms oxide of type Cu2O, Ag2O. Okay, so but what is the difference between these two? Okay, these are found to be hard metals. Their properties are differing a little bit. Whereas lithium, sodium, potassium, you all have learnt, these are soft metals. Okay, both are metals only. Whereas copper, silver, gold, all these are what? Hard metals. Okay, so in that way physical properties are differing. Okay, but they all are forming oxides of type what? R2O only. That's why he kept subgroups also. He introduced the subgroups also. Same like that as we have discussed for beryllium, magnesium, calcium, strontium. Okay, all these are kept under strontium, barium was kept under second group of type RO. Okay, but in this also subgroup is mentioned. Here these all comes under group A, subgroup A, second subgroup A. And subgroup B, okay, he categorized the elements like zinc, cadmium, mercury, all these elements. They are also forming oxides of type RO only. Okay, they are also forming oxides of type RO only. But he categorized them separately under subgroup B. Why he did like that? Because they differ a little bit in properties. Okay, they are exhibiting different properties from the elements which are exhibiting, which are there in group A. Okay, second group of type A, and these comes under of type B. So subgroups also he did. Okay, so that was like that. Whichever are the elements which are differing in properties but forming oxides of same type, he categorized them as subgroups also. So that was one of his salient features. Okay, this is all about what? Groups and periods. Okay, so this is first salient feature. Now coming to second one. Okay, coming to second one. What is that? See here, children. Very important thing. Okay, so second important point what he told is predicting the properties of new elements. Predicting the properties of unknown elements. Predicting the properties of unknown elements. Predicting the properties of unknown elements. He left some gaps. In his periodic table, he left some gaps also. That means he was thinking that in near future, some more elements are to be discovered. Okay, so if they are discovered, they can be placed in this position. Okay, such a nice guess he made, isn't it? So in future, he is predicting. Okay, unknown elements are there. Maybe some more elements may be discovered. Okay, this really revolutionized the points that are being told by Mendeleev. Really, this is the point where really amazing, we can say. His sixth sense was telling him that in future so many elements will be discovered, and if they are discovered, okay, they have to be placed in these positions. So predicting like that, he left some blank spaces also. In his periodic table, he left blank spaces. Whether they will be discovered or not, who knows? But he predicted, and amazingly, those were discovered also. Really, he predicted first only. Okay, such a sixth sense he has, and this revolutionized the contribution of Mendeleev's periodic table. Really, amazing he did. Okay, anybody can guess like that? No, it's really, in future some elements may be discovered. Anybody can guess like that? Really cannot. But he guessed and left blank spaces also. Okay, so he predicting the properties of unknown elements. Really amazing, isn't it? So that was one of his salient features. What is that he discovered in this? Okay, in this what we have to discuss about is some of the elements which are available at the time, they were not known. Okay, they were not named. Okay, so he named based on the resemblances which the elements are exhibiting. He named 3 elements. Okay, like there are 3 elements were there already discovered, but names were not given. 3 elements. 3 elements, names not given at that time. Names not given at that time. But elements are there. Okay, so he named based on the properties exhibited by that elements, he named them as Eka boron. 3 elements, Eka boron, Eka aluminium, okay, Eka aluminium and Eka silicon. 3 elements were known to him, but no one named that elements. Then he named that elements, okay, as Eka boron. The word Eka stands for what? 1. Okay, Eka boron. Okay, and Eka aluminium. That means that particular element is exhibiting properties as that of boron and that of aluminium and that of silicon. So resemblances are there. So he named them as Eka boron, Eka aluminium, Eka silicon. Later, in very near future, okay, another scientist, 2 scientists named Du Bois, Bourdon and Nelson named those elements. Okay, now Eka boron was previously called by Mendeleev as Eka boron, but another scientist named Du Bois, Bourdon, another scientist, he named it as scandium. Okay, so Eka boron is nothing but scandium only. Okay, similarly, Eka aluminium is nothing but gallium. Okay, and Eka silicon is nothing but germanium. Okay, who named? These elements are named in this way by another scientist named Du Bois, Bourdon. Very difficult to pronounce for Indians, isn't it? Du Bois, Bourdon and Nelson. These 2 scientists have named them as scandium, gallium and germanium. But our Mendeleev, the great scientist, really hats off to him. The great scientist has predicted first only about these elements, their properties, not only these elements, some more elements also. Okay, what are those more elements? See here, atomic numbers 113 to 116 were not discovered. This was all happened during 1869. 1869 he made an attempt of all these things. Okay, so at the time atomic numbers 113 to 116 were not discovered. Not discovered. But our hero has left blank spaces for the elements to be discovered. That is a speciality of Mendeleev's periodic table. That's why hats off to Mendeleev, isn't it? Right. So predicting the properties of unknown elements. Okay. Now later these were discovered, isn't it? And element with atomic number 118 is also reported, isn't it? So he left blank spaces for all of them. Okay. He predicted the properties of unknown elements. Okay. So this was the second salient feature, right? And then third one and very important one is, what is the third important salient feature? Correction of atomic weights. Correction of atomic weights. Correction of atomic weights. Okay. Correction of atomic weights. Okay. So actually atomic weight is calculated by a formula. What is that formula? Atomic weight or atomic mass is equal to equivalent mass into valency. Atomic weight is equal to, or atomic mass, better I write atomic mass, anything you can write of course, is equal to equivalent mass into valency. Okay, so valency concept is also slowly is getting discovered. Okay, so he did correction of atomic weights. Okay, so what correction he did? Mainly which one came into focus is beryllium. Beryllium, previous to Mendeleev, the previous scientists were thinking that beryllium exhibits atomic weight to be 13.5. Okay, previously atomic weight of what? Beryllium. Please remember, atomic weight of beryllium was found to be how much? 13.5. But Mendeleev corrected it. Okay, Mendeleev corrected it because Mendeleev observed formation of oxides. So beryllium is forming oxide of type what? BeO. Okay, if it is forming oxide of type BeO, its valency must be 2 only. Okay, and its equivalent weight, this is experimental value. This you have to remember. Okay, equivalent weight is an experimental value. Equivalent weight of beryllium is actually 4.5. Okay, and now if the valency of beryllium is equal to 2, 4.5 into 2 should give how much? 9.0. So this will be the actual atomic weight of beryllium. But previously scientists were thinking how much? They are thinking it to be 13.5. Okay, so he corrected it. He corrected the atomic weight of beryllium. Similarly, he gave corrections. Gave corrections for tellurium and gold also. Okay, gave corrections for indium and gold also. Indium and gold. Their atomic weights also he corrected. Okay, so this is also one of his salient features. Okay, so now we have to concentrate on drawbacks. Okay, drawbacks are also there. Every scientist, when he comes forward to do something, compulsorily ups and downs will be there, right? So now we have to learn about the drawbacks of Mendeleev's periodic table. Let us learn. So these are the salient features. Now we are going to learn about drawbacks, right? Keep side heading drawbacks of Mendeleev's periodic table. Drawbacks of Mendeleev's periodic table. So what are the drawbacks? Let us learn, right? So first and foremost thing which we observe is placement of hydrogen. It is a controversy even now also. Position of hydrogen. Okay, now placement of hydrogen. Placement of hydrogen. Position of hydrogen. Where to keep hydrogen? It's a controversy even now also. Even in the long form of periodic table also, it's also a drawback. Okay, it exhibits valency 1. So it is kept under first A group. Okay, but even it exhibits the properties as that of 7th A group elements also. But it is placed in first A group only. It's a gas. Okay, gas placed along with metals. Wrong placement, isn't it? So position of hydrogen or placement of hydrogen is a drawback. Okay, and what are the second drawback? What is the second drawback? Same like that, placement of what we call lanthanides and actinides. Lanthanides, actinides were not placed properly. Okay, and then dissimilar elements were placed together. Dissimilar elements were placed together. Okay, what are those dissimilar elements placed together? You can take the example of manganese and chlorine. Manganese versus chlorine. Manganese, it's a metal. Chlorine, it's a non-metal. So separation was not there for metals and non-metals as well. Dissimilar elements were placed together. And similar elements were separated also. That was also the problem. with the Mendeleev's periodic table. Okay. Okay. Similar elements were separated. Similar elements were separated. Okay. That means there is no better classification. Okay. Like metals and non-metals have not been classified. Okay. So this was also a very important point. And fifth important thing is anomalous pairs. This is very, very important point. Anomalous pairs. So what are anomalous pairs? Anomalous means different from others. Okay. So his classification is based on what? Atomic weights. We have learned that. Okay. That means preceding atomic weights. Atomic element with lower atomic weight is to be placed first and then followed by element with higher atomic weight. Okay. But here what happened? Here he placed certain elements in a different order. Okay. What are those elements? You can take the example of tellurium and iodine. Anomalous pairs. Tellurium and iodine. Okay. So tellurium, here atomic weight is 128. Iodine, atomic weight is 127. So this comes under the category of what? Atomic anomalous pair. Okay, this comes under the category of anomalous pair. Same like that, argon and potassium. My mic wire is falling down always. Okay. Argon and potassium. Argon weight is 40. Potassium weight is 39. Argon placed before potassium. Argon is placed before potassium. So these are what? Anomalous pairs. Anomalous pairs. Even you can take the example of cobalt and nickel. Okay. Anomalous pairs. Cobalt and nickel. And you can also take the example of what? Thorium and protactinium. Thorium and protactinium. Okay. So element with less atomic weight was placed in front of the element with higher atomic weight. So those were treated as what? Anomalous pairs. Okay. So this is also one of the drawbacks of what? Mendeleev's periodic table. And finally the last drawback is, this is I think sixth drawback is position of isotopes. Okay now? Position of isotopes. Isotopes. What are isotopes? Isotopes are the elements which are having same atomic number but a different mass number. Okay, isotopes were recently discovered. Hydrogen has 3 isotopes. Okay, you all know hydrogen, protium, deuterium, tritium. Okay, isotopes were discovered. Atomic mass is different, but they are also to be arranged only, no? But they are not elements. I mean, they are not comes under the category of elements, of course. They are isotopes only, but position of isotopes was not predicted. Okay, he didn't predict position of isotopes. What are isotopes? Isotopes are elements which are having same atomic number but different mass number. He didn't tell anything about it. And he also did not tell, not considered about periodicity. Not considered about periodicity of elements. What is this periodicity? Okay, all the elements in the periodic table are arranged in regular intervals of 2, 8, 8, 18, 18, 32. This tendency, you call it as periodicity. They differ with these numbers. We'll learn what is periodicity in the next coming video. Okay, periodicity also he didn't take into consideration. Okay, so that means periodicity is missing. Okay, the table name itself is periodic table. The word periodic has a specific meaning. If all the elements are arranged in regular intervals of 288, 18, 18, 32, you call it as periodicity. But periodicity was not maintained in Mendeleev's periodic table. Okay, periodic, the word itself is going wrong. So that was also one of the drawbacks of Mendeleev's periodic table. So this is all about Mendeleev's periodic table. So in the next coming class, we'll discuss with the next topics. Okay, right. Until then, keep studying. Always your hard work is your superpower. Okay, please do not quit. Okay, make up your mind to work hard. Okay, your success will definitely come in your way. Right? All the best, all of you, and please keep watching my videos and share my videos and subscribe to my channel. Right? Thanks for watching. Bye.